Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cool Water Show on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. My name is Kari, and I am joined today by my co-host Katie. Katie, how are you doing on this Saturday afternoon?
I'm doing well. It's like a very oddly warm February day here in New York. It's like 60 degrees, so just enjoying a nice cracked little window to my left.
I'm sorry for keeping you inside then. You should have told me
No,
that
that's
you
okay.
had a beach day on deck.
I was just outside running errands. It was very stressful, so I'm happy to be here with you talking about Housewives, which is also stressful, but in a different way.
Right? We had 2 trips end this week, which I mean,
We did.
Orange County was only on theirs for about a day and a half anyway. So
Bizarre. Yeah,
and they still got like 3 episodes of content out of it.
Well,
but
I would use the word content loosely.
They had 3 episodes of recorded
footage
conversations.
Yeah.
But as usual, we start off with Salt Lake City because everything is just at like a heightened level of drama there.
Yeah, it is a heavy hitter.
The allegiances switch like every 13 seconds. I don't know who is like who's number one at any given point.
It is just very almost borderline impossible to keep track of what's actually happening in Salt Lake City. It is constant chaos at all times. Like there's never a dull moment. It's just something over here, something over here, something over there. It's just like insanity at all points.
Well, we pick up with this episode post the Lisa hot mic dinners, how I wrote it down.
Yes.
And
yes.
We have a bunch of things going on. So Lisa is in her room yelling to what looks like to be a producer. I don't know if you saw it more in that one than I did in like last week's, but you could tell that there was someone in there.
Yes.
She was definitely going off to someone and not to the universe.
Right. For sure. There was definitely someone there.
So we've got Lisa just like yelling that no one has her back. We've got Mary trying to check in on Meredith, which was hilarious, by the way, when she's like, just let me in.
Yes.
Just let me in. Meredith's like, go away. She's like, just
get away.
Pounding at the door. And then when she let her in, she said something awkward and I didn't write it down. It wasn't like, oh, I just like want to see you smile or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't know. Mary's like a little creepy. Not like intentionally creepy, but just like creepy.
Yes.
In the way that she delivers things.
But that goes right into the next point that I have, which is everyone believes that Meredith and Mary's friendship is super weird.
Yeah.
How would you describe
it? It feels like they have more of an alliance than a friendship, but they say they're real friends, so I don't know. But it feels like there have been multiple shots in this episode specifically where they're together alone, sitting in silence. Like, if I was with someone who was supposedly my good friend and there was like drama going on, I don't think I'd be sitting there in silence. I'd be like, what the fuck is happening? Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, I would be like going off. Like, Lisa is going off.
So something that I think is interesting was last episode maybe, or the one before, Mary was like, well, we're real friends because like we don't have to talk about you guys when we're with each other.
Right.
To which I say bullshit, because real friends that's who you talk your shit to.
That is who you talk your shit to. Your real friends.
So I don't know. I agree that it's weird. But I just don't know if we'll ever find out why it's weird. Especially
I wonder if we'll hear more.
You think next episode? Because they did say at the end of the episode, next week is the final one.
I know we made it. I thought so. I feel like the season has been never ending because we've gotten like 2 or 3, maybe 4 breaks throughout because of like holidays, and now it was like New Year's, maybe even Thanksgiving we had a break, and now we have Super Bowl and they're giving us a break, which I don't know. I mean, I watch football. I know you watch football, but how wide is the demographic? Like, what's the Venn diagram of people who will be watching the Super Bowl and also Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Probably not that high. Just don't air it at the same time as a halftime show and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Is kind of my opinion, but whatever. We have to wait another week.
That's okay. I don't mind getting, like, sometimes the breather is nice. I felt like this week was a lot because of having to watch 3 episodes of Housewives.
It's a lot.
Especially, like, for doing this, watching it twice. So this morning, like, I ended up watching 2.5 episodes of Housewives I had to, like, really pay attention to so I could talk about it. Versus, like, when I have when I have Atlanta on, it has about 40% of my attention at most.
Yes. And that's what it should have. That's how Housewives is best consumed, with 40% of your attention.
We pay more attention, so you don't have to.
Yes, exactly.
You're welcome.
Yes, you are welcome.
So we get a conversation between Whitney and Meredith after there was a lot of yelling on Lisa's part to basically anyone who entered the room of, you don't have my back, I've always had yours.
Yeah. Lisa is in like a full breakdown. Hi, Nitro.
Our neighbors like took their dog for a walk as I opened the door, and so he's just been waiting for them to come back.
Aww.
And hey, buddy. Thank you. So yeah, Lisa just like wants everyone to know that she had their back and none of them had hers.
Yes.
I don't agree with the none of them had hers part though. Do you?
Well, I kind of agree in a sense because I feel like Heather didn't really say anything. Whitney, as soon as Lisa walked away from the table, was like, Lisa said that you're lying about your father's memorial. Like, she totally threw Lisa under the bus. And then Jenny, like, I had your back. I had your back. And they flashed back. And all she said was, what's wrong with eating Taco Bell? So really, she had Taco Bell's back, which I also appreciate because I am a Taco Bell fan, as we've discussed. But like, that's not having Lisa's back. That's having Taco Bell's back. She didn't say anything about Lisa.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I didn't really see anybody having Lisa's back, but I also felt like, oh, and Jen kind of like came at her. So I didn't really, it did feel like she was a little bit out on an island on her own. Maybe some of it's of her own doing though.
See, I feel like, I am sorry, but this
that is
dog,
okay.
Hey, buddy, we're fine. It's because they have their family. So like the sister's dog is there. So there's an extra dog. So if it was just Starla, Nitro wouldn't be barking, but because there's another dog he doesn't know, we are on like high alert over here. So
that's okay.
See, I feel like I don't know if Whitney directly has her back as much as it is Whitney's willing to bring up the shit that no one else is.
Yeah.
So I do see that in a way because something that I've realized is I don't think Lisa is the best at wording what's wrong in order for it to be addressed. She just like gets loud.
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree. And it's been kind of like that the whole season. Like even in that first episode with her friend, what was her name? Angie. When she like stormed off and was like, I just want John. And like the whole time, yes, I agree. She doesn't articulate what is actually going on. She just gets like upset. So I can get where like a Meredith would come in and be like, why are you just like yelling at me? But I also feel like Meredith as her friend should be like, whoa, calm down. Like what's going on? Instead of like disengaging.
Yeah. I think Heather thinks she has her back in a way where it's like, I've connected with you and I'm definitely seeing more of your perspective.
Yeah.
I also think that Heather was kind of like still taken aback by Mary being like, you don't have a husband, shut the fuck up. So,
yeah, there is also that. Yeah.
Because that did all happen within like the same 30 to 40 minutes of dinner.
Right.
Of Mary just making sure Heather knows that she's divorced without a husband right now.
Yes. Yes.
So I think like, I guess for me, it's maybe it's not as like upfront and direct in terms of having Lisa's back, but I do think Whitney's behaviors are trending in the way of like agreeing with Lisa as opposed to, although I do think part of it is she just wants to be right and she wants to know the information.
Yeah, what I'm getting from Whitney, and I'm not like Whitney's stock is very quickly plummeting for me. At the beginning of the season, I was like neutral, and I was like, yeah, let's get her on Celebrity Big Brother. She'd be great. She's like an investigator. Now it's to the point where it's just like over the top, and it's like, okay, Whitney, like just like calm it down for a second. Not everything needs to be an investigative journalism moment for you, and we don't need all these conspiracy theories, and we also just like don't need her to be stirring it constantly. Like it's just enough. Get a storyline of your own. You're doing too much. Now it's at the point where it's like over the top. She's doing too much for me personally.
I read that she's like big on QAnon.
Well, so her friend, I don't know if you remember in season 1, there was that really drunk girl in the first episode that came in to, I think it was Meredith's birthday party. And then she was also like in another scene in season 1 with Whitney. She was like a blonde. She was like she like walked into her room and she was like, happy birthday. I don't know. She was at the Capitol. She stormed the Capitol. Oh, so it would not surprise me if Whitney, who is her friend, is also QAnon crazy.
Yeah, I'd seen
But we've
that.
never seen her again. She stormed the Capitol. She was posting all over about it and never saw her again. So thank you for that. Bravo. You got that one right at least.
Yes, we're one for
One. Yeah.
a many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like try to read too much into it in terms of like Googling beyond what I saw on some Reddit, but it came up on many Reddit threads that she is like that. And so that makes a bit more sense with like the what's the word? Well, not a conjugate's not it. That's when you transfer or translate a verb.
Like her conspiracy. Conjuring. Yes.
Oh gosh, I should not try to use big words if I don't know what they are. Conjuring these like theories that okay, this makes a little bit more sense.
Yes.
I do appreciate the fact that she's the one that'll bring it up if no one else will. She does at least instigate a lot of things, and I think she also gets away of just being like, well, what about this? And then let's like Lisa get loud with whoever.
Right. Yeah, she really doesn't seem to take the fall for like any of this, even though she's right in the middle of it all.
Yes, I agree. And it was in the conversation with Meredith and Whitney that it made me realize that no one, not just Lisa, but no one has done a good job in telling Meredith what their whole issue is with this memorial, because I think Meredith was interpreting it as, you guys don't believe that my dad is dead.
Yeah, all of this is confusing to me because literally who fucking cares if it was on Monday or Tuesday? Who cares? And this all came from Whitney's little brain and Heather's little brain saying they called the FBI on Jen and then she lied so she wouldn't have to go in the van because she knew the FBI was coming and she got Jen arrested, which is clearly not true. I don't think just Meredith making one little phone call, or maybe with Mary making one little phone call to the FBI or the CIA or whatever every other agency that exists is going to get them to come and arrest her on the day of a cash trip. I just don't, it's just not reasonable. It's not based in reality. That this case has been going on for years, apparently, according to articles. So like, I don't think so. And that's where this all comes. It's like based in nothing.
I agree with you. And I think once I watched the episodes, sorry, I don't know how he's so distracting to me. I think it's just because I want to like coax him over here and be like, just stop barking. We are safe. I love you so much. But he doesn't listen to any of that.
No.
Typical man. Something that I realized was that this could be just like one giant misunderstanding, because it didn't seem like Meredith said like, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of my dad's memorial, when Lisa called from the bus to be like, yo, Jen's in cuffs somewhere. Like, yeah, it just made it seem like Lisa remembered like, oh shit, you are in the middle of spending time with your family. My bad. I'll call you later. And Meredith never confirmed or denied it. This is where I stand, is I just think that Lisa assumed it was that day.
Yes,
Meredith
I agree.
Never said, hey, I can't talk right now. And so now we have this whole thing potentially based off of one very easy misunderstanding.
Yes, I totally agree with you. They keep playing this call where Lisa is like, so sorry to call you right now. And like, whatever. But Meredith never says, I'm not doing anything today. Because when you lose somebody, you're in mourning for more than one day. So like, just because the memorial is on Monday doesn't mean that she's like not still dealing with all of those feelings from the day before the next day. So like, it's very reasonable, even if her memorial was on Monday and then Lisa calls her Tuesday, she's probably still upset. Who knows? Maybe she's still with her family, or she's like packing up and trying to go and saying goodbye. I know she said later on that she like wasn't even there on Tuesday, but whatever. She's still like going through the motions of it all and like getting back from the memorial. So it's reasonable for Lisa to say, so sorry to even call you right now, because she's going through something. And Meredith to not say, I'm not going through anything. What are you talking about? Because like there's more to it than just that one event. It's like a much bigger thing.
Yeah, I just think that this is all over misinterpreted information.
And just like literally baseless conspiracy theories of, well, she didn't come and is using her father's memorial as an excuse so she could call the FBI and not be there for when Jen gets arrested. It's just like, it's honestly like when you really break it down into this is a situation, they think that she's lying about a memorial date because they think she called the FBI. It's like literally just like insanity. It's
And
just it's just insanity.
I also wonder of like, because I don't know if it's very clear if the theory being pushed is Meredith knows Jen was doing something shady and called the FBI to be like, investigate this woman, to which some of them believe like is motivated by the fact that they were both fucking the same dude.
Right. Which sounds like it's going to come up in the finale.
Yes,
finally.
Can't wait. Or is it that Meredith called the FBI and said, oh, you want to know where she is?
Right.
She's at this place. I feel like it wavers between the two for whoever is yelling at the moment and what makes more sense in the argument that's happening. Right. I don't know if any of them know which one they're actually pushing for the narrative.
No, I don't think they care either.
Yeah, that's true.
The one that would be based more in reality is that she called and told them that they were leaving for the trip, or they spoke to her and said, yes, we'll be here. But I truly don't believe that that's even true, because don't we know for a fact that they were tracking Jen's whereabouts on her cell phone? I mean, the FBI has the resources to the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, is that what they're even called? Has the resources to do that if they have a warrant or a subpoena or whatever. I mean, they did it on The Wire. And that was like in the early 2000s or late 90s. I think we could do it in 2020 or 2021 absolutely. Or 2022, whatever.
I don't even think it takes the FBI to do it. You just get like an angry ex-girlfriend and
right.
it can probably be done. So.
Right.
Something that I want to mention before we leave like Whitney and Meredith is Meredith like took a big swing at Whitney when she was like, oh, well, do you even know where your dad is?
I say good for Meredith. I say good for Meredith. Listen, I'm not usually on Meredith's side, but as someone who has lost a father, if somebody came to me and started questioning my shit like that, it would be lights out. Like that would be it for me. And I would say whatever I had to say to be like, you know what, fuck you. And I would just take whatever anger out on them that I had, especially if it was like that raw. Forget it. Whitney just someone needs to just pat her on the head and tell her to sit down, which makes me upset because that also makes me on Mary's side in a lot of this. And I never want to be on Mary's side, but I feel like Mary is the one that just pays Whitney like no mind. And it's just hilarious every time that they interact with each other. And I'm upset because I don't want to be on Mary's side, but Whitney's forcing me to be.
Well, Whitney had the retort later in the conversation when they were discussing like, well, what day was the memorial? And Whitney goes, did you want me to hire a private investigator to find out? To which Meredith just was like, I'm out. Peace.
She was so proud of this comment that she had. She's just so proud.
I mean, it did not that it takes much to cause Meredith to walk out of the room.
That's true.
But it did cause her to walk out of the room. So
it did.
There we are. But
there was a point where Mary came in and Mary said, bye. And Whitney said, no, hi. And that really like made me really laugh. I don't know, just like the back and forth between Mary and Whitney really gets me. Mary just has no time. She just has no time.
I also think that Mary has a point where like Whitney gets the most, I don't know, argumentative, and she instigates shit the most when she's been drinking. That it's also hard to like. I want sober Whitney to come out to play and let me see what arguments you're putting up then, because that would be nice.
It feels like every time Whitney is in these situations, she's like almost blackout drunk. Like you can see it in her eyes that she is just not, she's no longer with us. This has become another Whitney.
Yes.
And it's just,
I wonder if after this season, because there's been quite a few times where they've highlighted that like, okay, girl, it's a lot. If we get a little bit less of this in next season out of her, but only time can tell with that one.
We'll see.
So after Whitney and Meredith, you basically have like all of them up in the room except Mary, just kind of yelling at each other. Like Lisa, Meredith wants to know who said what. everything is misconstrued. Lisa comes in saying, like, I'm not going to apologize. I didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
But then Whitney leaves the room being like, where is Mary for Meredith right now? If you're such good friends, where are you, Mary? To which I just want to be like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just shut up. Just shut up.
Like, Mary's not going to do anything for this.
No. She just keeps trying to bait her, and Mary will not take the bait. She just won't.
The point that kind of was interesting to me in this part, though, was Heather saying to Meredith, like, I've given Mary a pass for a lot of the shit she's done because of you. Like, I respect you, so I'm not going to cause drama and trouble because you choose to be friends with her.
Right.
Do you think that's true for everyone? Because they all say, like, we just let her get away with shit. Like, we never hold her to the fire. We never hold her accountable beyond, like, the initial conversation. Then she'll, like, take her jabs and that's it.
It might be true. I have had friends in the past where it's just not worth it to call them out because they'll never own anything or take responsibility or accountability. So it almost becomes a point to, like, why bother wasting my time because it's not going to go anywhere. And I almost wonder if, like, that's how they feel sometimes about Mary, because she is, like, the queen of deflection in a very bizarre way, but she is always deflecting.
I mean, yeah, if you are able to use Taco Bell as a reason to completely dismiss someone, you definitely have a talent. So that's really it for the night. The same night of that dinner, everyone, I guess, like, goes to sleep after that, passes out from drinking after that. Whatever causes the slumber is an individual thing. But the next morning, we have people kind of construing that, like, Meredith didn't want to say a date last night when it kept coming up of, like, when was the memorial? When was it? Was it Monday or Tuesday? Because people think she didn't want to get caught in a lie. Again,
I mean, at that point, just say the date. That's kind of how I felt about, like, Brooks and Vicky with the cancer of it all, the fake cancer, is, like, just show the medical records.
Yeah.
Because then it'll put it to rest. So it does make it feel more like she has something to hide. But there was also something that happened the night before, which maybe wasn't a hot mic moment per se, but when Mary was by herself looking out the window and said that Heather looked inbred.
Yes. I didn't write that down, but I did. I remember catching it the first time and being like, it's Mary being Mary, but I didn't know what she was talking about. She also took a shot at being at Mormons too. She was like, because right before the inbred comment, she goes, like, she doesn't realize how much of a snobby Mormon she comes across as.
Right.
And then, like, she doesn't even realize that she looks like an inbred, which she doesn't.
No, and, like, yikes to that. Yeah. Just add us to the list of things that Mary has said that are inappropriate. And but I just want to make sure we mention that part, because also you're married to your step grandfather, so, like,
talk about inbred.
I get that you're not related, but, like, also,
and the does fact it really matter? Just, like, telling the outdoors.
Just looking at a window. Just looking at a large window.
Good night, moon. Yeah. By the way, Lisa looks like an inbred.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, Mary? All right.
Yeah.
We get Lisa saying, like, I can't believe that I'm going to be leaving this trip being closer to Heather and Whitney than I am to Meredith and Mary. Which we've kind of seen coming and have almost predicted in a way. Do you think that lasts?
No, I want to say to Whitney, to Lisa, beware of these two, because they're just twisting things. And Whitney very clearly is still throwing Lisa under the bus and blaming all of these questions on Lisa, when really it's Whitney and Heather who started this whole conspiracy to begin with. Really, mostly Whitney.
What do you think of Meredith taking the van and her reasoning behind it?
Because why didn't we see anything in the van? We see everything else in the van, but we don't actually see the one time that Meredith is in the van.
They all probably were just, like, on their phones the whole way back.
Probably napping.
But Meredith did take the van. She's like, everything happens in the van when I'm not there, so I'm going to be there.
Yep. Mary did not take the van. No.
Mary rides in SUVs and SUVs only.
This poor driver.
Yeah, sincerely. But I mean, I guess I got an easier ride home this time than they have in other instances. So 1 for 3 isn't bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the Zion trip, which felt like it was. I mean, if you think of how many episodes they were in Zion for, I just wonder how long they were there for. It was like, what, 3 nights maybe?
Yeah, probably.
And
Probably. Maybe even 2. No, yeah, probably 3.
yeah, they had the dinner. They had like Whitney's night of things, and they had the night where
Yes.
they got trashed.
Yes, yes. And then this Cinco de Mayo,
Yeah.
questionable Cinco de Mayo party.
Yes. Where Jen Shaw did not crimp her hair for Cinco de Mayo for nothing.
Right. Well, she didn't crimp her hair. Her glam team did. So
Very true. Also, was her hair crimped? Like,
it seemed like more curled, like
yeah.
really tight curls and crimps, but
When I think of crimp, like I think of almost
yeah,
those,
I think
like
of like those
mini
rigid, like
stairs in
zigzag.
someone's hair.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is meant for like
Yes.
bugs to climb or something.
Yes.
I don't know. Supposedly crimping's coming back, so if that's your thing,
Oh,
live your
God,
life.
not everything needs to come back.
No, they don't.
That can stay.
After our Zion trip, we get kind of like a montage of some real life stuff going on with the women. So just a quick rundown of Meredith and the chakras, which I won't lie to you, I didn't pay attention to either time.
No,
that was like
same.
the part where I zoned out. Sick. We keep it moving. Heather's daughter's college decision was at University of California, Santa Barbara, maybe?
Something like, I just know there were like a bunch of letters that I was like, I guess this must be Santa Barbara, or I don't know. Yes.
I think it was UCSB, if I'm remembering.
Yes.
So that's the only thing that makes sense to me, but also I could be making up a college right now.
It's okay.
All right. Well, I mean, I hope she gets Dean's List at my made-up university.
Yeah. Shout out to her.
We have Jen meeting with her lawyer, and they definitely chose some footage here to show.
Yes, they sure did.
So Jen and her lawyer are talking, and really the main part of it is Jen going like, well, how's Stuart doing? Like, I'm not allowed to talk to him. Are we on the same side? Like our team and his team? And the lawyer's like, well, we're not necessarily on the same side, but we're not against each other for right now.
Yeah, he basically just says we're talking, right? Yeah.
However, if Stuart decides to take a deal and works against us, then we're going to have some issues. Spoiler alert.
Which is, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Sorry, Jen.
Yeah, sorry about it.
I hope you like prison food.
Yeah.
She's going to be in like, honestly, the prison she ends up at would be like a fucking retreat for most of us.
Yeah, she'll be in like the Teresa Giudice prison, which was, like I think, actually the prison that Orange is the New Black was based on.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I can't imagine that if she's going to go anywhere.
She'll be fine.
Yeah, but so I just thought that was interesting that they chose to show that part of the conversation between Jen and her lawyer, definitely on purpose. Bravo knows what they're doing. Then we go to Lisa and her family talking, and the only thing I took from all of this was, can you teach me how to make eggs next?
This was like the funniest. She's like, I love my grill. And like, I've never seen a grill like this before. You like put stuff under it, like to melt it, I guess. And then you pour the stuff on the food. It was just like very bizarre. And she's like, I'm a gourmet chef. And she just like is like wrapping asparagus and bacon and putting it on a grill. It's just the funniest thing. And then she's like, I'm going to learn to make eggs. And I was like, this is the worst. And she says that the trip was great. Her son asks her about the trip and she's like, yeah, it was awesome. The trip was great.
That's what you tell your kids when they ask things like that,
right?
Though. Unless you're Meredith talking to Brooks and you tell him
everything. Yeah. Yes.
Sentence of what happened. But yeah, all I wrote down was like, I knew there was more of a conversation, but I just wrote down Lisa saying, "Teach me how to make eggs."
Yeah. I don't know. And they showed her like a flashback of her using the grill another time. So she's like, I love my new grill. It was just so ridiculous.
Next we get something that I thought was interesting that they included, because Jen Shaw says, like, hey, I texted everyone for Mother's Day, and the only one responded to me was Mary. And she's like, I'm just feeling it in my like deep Jesus ridden bones that you need to come to my church today, which Jen does.
This is my favorite thing that maybe has ever happened on a Real Housewives show. I was laughing. Like, this was like the most, it's going to make me miss Jen, things like this. That's all because she's going to go to jail. So it's going to make me miss her. That, and when she killed the mosquito in the room when everybody was fighting, that just like, she's like, mosquito. I don't know. It just made me laugh.
Did you hear them say that Mary's church hadn't had service in a year?
Yeah, I think they were saying it was because of COVID or something.
Oh,
I think that's why.
Forgetting that there's a fucking pandemic.
I think
going
that's why.
on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what incarnation? No wonder everyone thinks shady shit is going on.
There was also like 12 people total there, maybe 15.
All of them were like screaming their undying allegiance to Mary and whatever spirits are inside of her.
It truly was so wild. One of them said, like, you're the best friend ever. You wear the best clothes, or like you're the best dresser. It was just like them reading off of papers like how amazing Mary was, and Mary just like screaming into a gold microphone on this like little tiny stage. And Jen is just like literally looking around like, what the fuck is happening? And it was just like, it was amazing. She literally at one point said like, what is happening?
I just wrote, I feel uncomfortable watching all of this.
Oh, I wanted, like, I could watch a whole episode of just that. And Jen's reactions. Like, that's what I wanted, is just like watching Jen like look around and just be like, what is happening right now?
The like picture in picture of like Jen's facial reaction.
Yes, that's all I want.
Going on.
I want the bonus. Like, you know how they do like never before seen episodes? Like, I want the whole episode of just that.
I wonder how long that went for.
I don't know. Not long enough for me.
For you. Yeah.
Give me a live feed of that.
I mean, you could just go to her church. Take a Salt Lake City trip. Just go.
Maybe.
Listen, you were entertained. I mean, it could
That's
be your
true. But Jen Shaw also has to be there. Like, I need to like watch other people react. Because like if it's just me, then I'll be like, am I the one that only thinks that? But I like seeing other people react the same way I would be reacting in that moment.
No, I understand that. It's like I'm not the crazy one here. Like, please
like
that
you're seeing what's happening, right? Like we're seeing this is what's happening. Okay. Yeah.
After we are at Mary's church, we get to go to Meredith's house where she invited Whitney and Heather to come over.
And these little pot stirrers are plotting in the car on the way.
Yes.
And I'm just like, God, don't you get tired? Are you not tired of this?
I can't remember what they were saying. Like, Whitney thinks Meredith is going to suck up to them and just sweep the truth under the rug is what I wrote. Although I don't remember her exactly saying that. So I might have been making up my own. Is that what
No, I think she probably said that. But I honestly, like at that point, I was like, get Whitney off this show. And I just like stopped. I was just like peak done with Whitney at that point. Like, I'm tired. I'm just tired of hearing you go on about this.
Yeah, I just don't really understand the importance at this point because like nothing changes if they figure anything out because there's all this like resentment and shit between them.
Right.
That whatever. And so while the three of them are talking, they basically come to a conclusion that like Lisa is lying, and they're saying that Lisa is the one telling everybody that the memorial was a day later. That's really it. That's where they end. And it's like,
based on kind of exactly what you said earlier, this seeming to be a misunderstanding on the phone of, you know, her trip still being ongoing and Lisa saying, I shouldn't even be calling you right now. That's where like this all seems to have stemmed from. But it does seem like in this scene, Meredith does confirm that the memorial was on Monday and not Tuesday. And that then they kind of just point the finger back at Lisa. But they also had this like these, I don't know what the machines actually did or what their purpose was, but
what are those?
I have no idea. But Whitney asked to turn it down while they were talking about intense conversations, and Meredith turned it up. So that is what happened. Just want to call that out. She's like, when these intense conversations are happening, like I have to turn it down. And Whitney was like, Meredith was like, boop, 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 and turned it up.
I mean, Meredith is going to passively be evil towards all this, fine. You know what? I can understand your frustration with Whitney. And if it's a easy way to get back at her after the last couple of days, then live your life.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I do wonder if Lisa and Meredith kind of see, especially how Whitney, but more how Whitney and Heather together can like kind of help sway the direction of the group. Yeah. And so if Meredith has them on her side with all of this, then it's easier for Meredith. And similarly with Lisa, like with her and Heather connecting especially, and Whitney going up and being like, well, I want to be on your side. Like, tell me what I can do to have your back, when they were like drunk the night before. I do wonder if those two see it as like, I need Whitney and Heather in order to control the narrative of how all this is going down.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I feel like this is what Lisa has been trying to say, at least about Whitney this whole time. More so about Whitney than Heather. But I think even in season 1, when she's like, Whitney and Heather, fair weather. Like, this is what she has been saying, maybe in a way that doesn't make any sense. But this is like exactly her issue with Whitney and Heather. And Whitney and Heather are playing both sides, and they're stirring the pot and like turning people against Lisa and trying to turn Lisa and other people against Mary and Meredith. It's just, they're messy and they're right in the middle of it all, but coming away scot-free. Yes.
I think at that point we end the episode and they give us like the last preview for our last episode before reunion. And it looks like we're going to have Jenny throwing shit. We're going to have what Meredith is like, I will tell you who everyone was dating and that no one knows about or something. So there's at least threats of exposing maybe some extramarital relationships.
Maybe.
But we have a solid like 43 minutes next week for this season to end, and then we get what should be an interesting reunion because of them showing them showing everybody Lisa's like hot mic moment. So I think
the day or 2 days before or something like that. So it'll be fresh.
There wasn't a lot of time, and they couldn't even really like air it out on social media because the audience would be like, the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Exactly.
So I think we have a steamy reunion coming up.
I think we do. And we'll get to see those outfits in action.
Oh, right. By Brooks.
Yeah, those horrible outfits. They're terrible.
But that's where we're at with Salt Lake City. We have like a bit of resolution, but not really. I don't know. I think that next week everybody's just going to end up hating each other except for Heather and Whitney. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. And this is one of the most chaotic Housewives seasons I think I've ever seen. I think this like compares to that one season of New York where it was like very drunk. I don't remember exactly which season it was, but there was like one where they were just constantly drunk. I think it may have been Dorinda's last season, where it was just like constant drunken, like yelling and insanity, and there was no actual story. That's what this season feels like to me. It's just chaos everywhere. Maybe less drunk, but just more like chaotic screaming. That's tied to nothing. It's just like that we lost the plot a long time ago.
Yeah, because it was good when we were focusing on Jen for a bit, and it seemed like it was going to be like a Jen Shaw exposed party where we were going to get all the secrets, but that never happened. And then it felt like we were going to get the same thing about Mary and her church, but again, everyone backed down. So now it's just kind of like this fruitless yelling at each other about what day did they celebrate the father of Meredith.
Right. Which, I mean, it's delivering. Don't get me wrong. It's entertaining to watch, but it's also like stressful and like very hard to keep track of what's going on because it's just like every 5 minutes, some other fight is breaking out and it's like based on nothing.
And it doesn't help that Lisa is awful at expressing the reasoning behind her frustrations, at least in the moment. I think she has a better job in her confessionals, but in the moment, I'm just like, girl, you're just yelling words right now. Like when she was like trying to say it was the pot calling the kettle black, and she's like, and it's like the pot being a liar with lies about the kettle.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know where you're
Oh,
going, Lisa,
Lisa.
but you're a little lost on the way. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. She took the scenic route on that one.
yeah, she did the whole like 3 right turns, eventually makes a left.
Mm-hmm,
So she got there
Yep.
though. um, all right. So if we move into our next, always the middle, because sometimes the bread is the best part of the sandwich, and that's how it works here when we're talking about 3 shows. We got some great bread going on, but in between,
oh yeah,
it's Orange County.
it's like bologna. It's like you have this nice fresh baked bread that's wonderful and like just as crunchy as it needs to be and like just as soft as it needs to be, and then you put just like a slab of bologna in the middle of this beautiful bread.
Yeah,
that's our Orange County.
Is the bologna of the Real Housewives universe. You heard it here first. Okay, so here's how I broke this down. I don't have a lot because again, it just feels like it's not a lot going on. But that last dinner in Cabo, Noella was just trying to make enemies, I think. She was going after everyone.
Yes.
I wrote it as Noella versus Heather, then Noella versus Gina, then Noella versus Emily.
Yep. And then Shannon just walks away at some point, I guess to go get Heather. So it's like she's left there with just Dr. Jen, who's a nothing. She's just nothing.
Original one that Noella didn't like. And Noella
for almost no reason, kind of. She just said she's thirsty.
But I thought what was funny about that part, at least, is like Noella kept trying to drive the point home of like, oh my God, how funny is it that it's just you and me of all people here, arch sworn enemies. We've never gotten along, but now we're at the same dinner table together. And Dr. Jen is like, this isn't a drama.
Yeah, like she doesn't care. Then she tries to like in her confessional kind of like psychoanalyze Noella, which I thought was like, what are your credentials here? She's like, as a doctor, I need to know how to deal with patients. And I'm like, this is not your line of medicine. Are you even in a line of medicine? Is she an MD? Like, I don't even know.
She said that like she has to be able to get into women's psyches in order to be able to be successful with her job.
I don't think that's true.
I do question, what are boob implants filled with? Is it filled with psyches or silicone? I don't know. Right. I don't have any, but Dr. Jen might be able to give a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah, we should get Andy to ask that.
Wait, where are all these psyches? If Dr. Jen hadn't done all that like doctor bullshit ahead of it and just came into the confessional of, you have to approach Noella in this way. It's the only way you can. And I'd be like, hell yeah, you do. Because
I'd be like, I get it.
Yes.
She's unhinged.
But because it's like, don't forget, I am a doctor. And because I'm a doctor, this is why I have figured out how to speak to Noella. It's like, no, there's plenty of us who could have also figured that out and don't have a doctorate or whatever form of degree she has.
Right.
So I thought the Heather and Noella thing ended like, whatever. That's fine. I don't want to talk about that anymore. We talked about that last week. Nothing developed from it. But then once Heather left, it was Emily who goes like, I'm feeling like you're angry with Gina. And to which that goes down because Noella's upset that Gina knew for a week that
about these pornography cards.
Oh, I thought it was the pity vote, or not pity vote, pity invitation.
Invite? Oh, I thought it was the cards. Maybe it was. Maybe you're probably right. Yeah, maybe it was both because that conversation took place at the same time. The pity invite and the card, like the card game conversation.
I'm also confused about when was Noella invited because it felt like it was. There's parts of the conversation where like Noella goes like, oh, well, only 48 hours ago, I got an invite to Cabo and I still showed up. But then there's also parts of other conversations where it made it seem like it happened like a week before the trip when the girls knew like 10 days before. I don't know. The timeline on that is weird to me.
Yeah.
Also, I think if I was Noella, and I get like you're on a cast show and the expectation of being somewhere or whatever, but if it's me, I'm not showing up somewhere that I'm invited 48 hours beforehand when you have a pretty good idea that like you're being invited not out of the true kindness of this person's heart,
right?
But more so because they feel obligated to invite you.
Right.
So
she almost didn't show up because she didn't know she needed a passport.
that's true. my boyfriend just got his passport and it came with a passport card, and I was like, don't try only bringing your passport card to the airport. He's like, I thought they were the same thing. I'm like, not if you're trying to go to Cabo. And he's like, why do you know this?
Don't worry about it.
And like, he makes fun of me for watching Real Housewives, so I will bring it up from time to time just to piss him off.
Yeah.
But I told him, like, well, on an episode of Real Housewives, and he's just like, okay, shut up. But
it's informational.
Yeah, like, listen,
educational.
You can't just use it. So
right.
You need to make sure you have your passport. The fight that I did want to actually focus on was Noella and Emily, for the reason of Noella's line of just go to Gina. Just go to Gina. Like,
right.
It was she just seems so inauthentic to me. It's unreal.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Everything she's doing is to be a storyline.
Yeah, she's too much. She has main character syndrome for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So like Emily leaves, but then she goes back to get her purse.
And she ends up hanging out.
Yeah, she ends up just like getting trashed with Shannon and Noella. And I guess Dr. Jen? Was Dr. Jen
I think Dr. Jen left. They showed her like walking away when they were like climbing on the piñata.
Oh, yeah, because I thought
I don't know why.
Maybe it was only 3. Yeah, I guess that's it. So yeah, Noella is just trying to fight with everyone.
Yep.
I have a feeling that because of Noella's like attempt at creating drama, that she isn't going to be a one and done, but I really do wish that she was a one and done.
I would like her to be a one and done because she's very like Bronwyn-esque to me, where Bronwyn felt very inauthentic, and they know each other. Like, I think that's how she got introduced into this whole like world of things. She knows Bronwyn, and like anybody that knows Bronwyn can go. I feel like that season where Bronwyn came and Kelly Dodd was still on the show is like when we really went awry with Orange County. Like, it was getting kind of bad before that, but like that was the final nail. Then the season that the first season with Tamara and Vicky gone was like, it was like it almost didn't even happen, and now we have this, and it's almost just as bad as that season. Like, Heather didn't do anything to save us. So I just hope Noella's done. I hope we get Vicky and Tamara back. That's kind of it. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I only want Tamara. I don't need Vicky. I think Tamara has the ability to shake everything up in a good way. But I feel like if you get both, like, Vicky is so bad at integrating the new women in. She's very much like, no, these are my friends. And she almost makes them be the outcasts. Like, I don't know. I think Tamara's good.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big Vicky fan in general, but whatever.
I'm not a big Vicky fan either, but as I was like recently doing the rewatch of the old seasons, I can see what she brings to the table. Like, I don't like her as a person, but she brings a lot to the table on the show. And even that season where she was a friend of, like, I feel like the whole season was basically about her. So I think we should have seen the writing on the wall that like once Vicky's gone, we're not really going to have anything.
Do you think that they would let her back just based off of how she treated people, especially at that reunion? Because I feel like from what I read, that last reunion, like, we only saw the tip of the iceberg in terms of how rude she was to people on like Bravo's staff.
Yeah, that I don't know. It depends on like if Bravo cares about saving the show more than it cares about the people that work for them, which I would imagine they care more about the money they're going to make.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they would care. And I think that was a big issue with Heather as well in her final season, that she treated the staff really terribly. And we kind of saw it this season too. And she was like, I'm done. I'm not filming. I'm quitting the show. Like, that's just how she is.
Yeah.
And they brought her back too. So I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't need Noella there anymore. It's hard watching her because at least with like, I feel the rest of the Housewives, we see who they are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're actually seeing Noella, the person. I think we're seeing Noella who is trying to succeed as a housewife.
Yes, that's exactly what we're seeing. And I feel like that's what we saw with Bronwyn as well. And that's why I'm just like, nope. Get it out of here. It's inauthentic. It's not real. She's trying to make good TV. And that it's like when anybody tries too hard to make good TV and they're inauthentic, like it's so obvious and it's just bad for the show.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bad for the show, next we have Dr. Jen and her kids like getting, is it pedicure?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Tell me those kids weren't being fed lines. Are her kids that so let me backtrack. As someone who has always been a sassy child, sassy adult, like sarcastic as fuck, and especially when I was younger, like the filter didn't exist. Was I capable of lines like that? Sure. As much as those kids were in the at the right time though,
right.
I think that someone has an earpiece and was being told what to say. Those kids, or they just really don't like their mom.
Well, I think they probably hate their mom. That seems to be true because her husband hates her and her husband seems to be the one that like takes care of the kids mostly. So I'm sure that like the whole family hates her because of what her husband's saying. Because it seems like she's never around.
Yeah. And Heather is like taking on this Dr. Phil role of like trying to nurse that relationship back to health, which in a way I kind of understand because she's been where Ryan's, aka Ryan, aka shirtless Chihuahua lover, has been in this relationship. And so she's trying to like Sherpa her way through this for Dr. Jen, but I don't know. Anyway, all I wrote down about that scene was those kids were being fed lines. I refuse to believe that
I wouldn't be surprised
that on their own. But they were saying some things like when they were asking, Dr. Jen was asking about the nanny, and
and she's like a mother.
Dr. Jen was just like, shit,
right,
So but anyway, we have gotten quite a bit over the last few episodes of just the breakdown of this family, and I
kind of feels like it's coming out of nowhere.
I just think that they're trying to create that as their storyline, you know, that they've known otherwise, like, what is she adding to this? Well, we're getting a divorce in front of everyone. That's literally it.
But also, I think I said this last week too, is just like, I don't know her.
Yeah.
So I don't care. Like, I'm not invested in her relationship with this weird guy whose name is Ryan, but goes by Ryan and like never wears a shirt and has a weird relationship with his dog. Like, I don't care. They could both be off the show. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I think that they're just trying to build it up, but otherwise, like, it doesn't add. It's not, at least in this moment in time, like, it's not messy enough for me to be like, oh, hell yeah, I keep showing more.
Right.
Right now, it just feels like, oh, yet another person is coming on this show to have a public divorce.
Yeah, and get paid to expose it. And like, are there any Dr. Jen stans out there? Does anybody care about Dr. Jen? Is there a fan of Dr. Jen? I would just want to know, like, who's showing up and watching the show for this woman?
So this is what my brain just did with what you just said, was like, you know, when they're paging doctors over like the hospital intercom, like paging any Dr. Jen fans. Dr. Jen fans.
That's what I would like to do. I am paging any Dr. Jen fan or stan who's listening to this podcast or watching. Let me know just that you exist, because I need to know, like, is anybody showing up to watch what's going on with Dr. Jen?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I can listen to or watch any other woman on the show and say, like, I can see what they bring. Dr. Jen, she gives me nothing.
She really does a great job of rounding up the women in this country who also had a leg tumor and in their 20s and have to do daily exercise to keep the pain at bay.
Right.
There's probably Facebook.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I'm sure she's been a guest speaker
at some conventions, I'm sure, and that's really where they're pulling for a new audience in those women. That's got to be it. Otherwise, I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
After Dr. Jen and her kids just talk about like how Dr. Jen is not a mom, we get Heather and Gina at lunch. So, you know, they do the typical, like, let's talk about what happened. Gina's like, I can't be Noella's friend if she doesn't trust me, which I think is a valid statement.
Sure, valid.
I don't know if I mean, like, I could, I guess, see Noella being mad, being that, like, you didn't tell me about this, but also I don't think Gina had to tell her because Gina's in the same brand new friendship with both of those women, like, the same amount of time. That's somewhere where I probably would have kept my mouth shut too. So,
yeah, same.
Otherwise, we get the invitation that Gina's going to New York with Heather.
Yeah, I want to talk about this for a second because Heather and Gina act like they have this like really kindred spirit because they're both from New York. But one, when's the last time Heather lived in New York? I don't know. And two, I think she's from upstate New York or at least like Westchester area, which to me as a Long Island / Queens person is upstate to me. I know that's a hot topic if you're from New York, but Gina's from Long Island. So that's not the same area. So like New York is a really big state. So then she's saying they're going to look at Syracuse, which is really far upstate from Long Island. And then she's like, yeah, we can go to Long Island. We can go. And I'm like, no, you can't unless you're flying to each or like taking really long road trips. Like it's not the same. You going to Syracuse does not mean like, oh, we could just pop down to Long Island. Like it's far. That's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah. No, that's a lot.
Not really, but I'm like, this is a crazy trip. Like, this is just so stupid that this is like the trip that you're planning here because the geography of it all just doesn't make sense. As a New Yorker, it bothered me.
I mean, I'm from New England and I'm from Connecticut specifically.
Yeah.
I have driven both the upstate part of New York to get to Pittsburgh for a Taylor Swift concert. I've done that drive. Yes, a long time ago. I almost fell asleep at the wheel, but
oh my God.
We're here to tell the story.
I'm glad that you didn't.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm welcome. I'm very glad that you did not.
And then I've had to spend plenty of time in New York City for a variety of things.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I'm hearing this, I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They're not the same. They're not the same. Not even close to the same. Syracuse is far away. It's far away.
Also, why does our kid want to go to Syracuse? Nothing. Okay, as a Big East UConn person, like I have this deep just disdain for Syracuse. It's been built into me since I was a child. But also, like, what is unless her kid wants to go for there were they known for? Like their media, basically, essentially. Like
I don't know.
So like Bob Costas went to Syracuse. They're known for I don't know if it's necessarily like sports media, but that general area of things that like if you're choosing to go across the country to a different college, like why aren't you going somewhere either in New York City,
go to NYU,
Boston,
go to
like a school in Florida? I don't know. Like what is
right? We're really choosing Syracuse.
I don't know. Maybe it's that media type of thing.
Maybe.
But I don't understand it.
Nor do I.
Who was the orange, like the mascot, and he like when you're that person, you have to keep it secret. Like basically, the only other people that know are the people that are also the mascot, and there's usually like 4 to 6 of them per year. And like his family knew because it's his family, but otherwise, like he wasn't able to tell anyone.
Wow,
and so that was kind of cool when he like announced it on Facebook. It's like, oh, that's sick. Because he also
cool.
is like a super introvert and just like is always a behind the scenes guy. And he's like, when I had this opportunity come up, like for me to take it, like it's made me such a better person, or whatever. But that's what I think of now with Syracuse. I'm like, oh, that's like a huge running secret. Like we don't know who that is. Cool.
Wow. Yeah, that is cool.
So maybe they want to be a mascot.
Maybe. Well, is it Max? This is Max?
I can't even remember.
Max is the only child that I know because of the storyline.
Are they twins? Are there twins?
There are twins. I don't know if Max is a twin.
Ones?
It's unclear.
I don't know. I can't keep her kids straight.
Neither can I. Nor do I care to. Really.
Yeah. So anyway, Heather and Gina are now going to be best friends all over the state of New York because they need to go to places they're on exactly.
Yeah, they're taking a whole New York State trip.
Yes. Next, we have dinner on the boat, which was on Shannon's boyfriend's boat.
Yes.
And they invited Emily and her husband, whose name I am forgetting. Shane. There we go. Shane. Took me a second. And Heather and Mr. Heather. Why am I forgetting husbands right? Terry. There we go. I'm like, I know they're up here. Yeah. I can do this. Basically, they had people like talking about how they didn't get along with their dads, or there was no relationship with their dads, and it motivated them to be the people they are today.
Yeah, essentially. And it was like a lot of Shannon's boyfriend putting her to work on the boat, being like, bring the fenders. It was like a mini Below Deck episode. Like he was Captain Lee and she was the bosun on the boat.
The next crossover is Shannon on the Carter yacht out in the Mediterranean.
Shannon's going to be the first mate on the next Below Deck season. Which I would watch it. I would watch that. Bravo, put it together. I would watch it. But yeah, and there's something I want to say about this, and it's like, this is such a minute thing, but Heather and the Champs drives me fucking crazy. And if I have to hear her say one more time when a champagne cork opens, goes, that's a lovely sound, isn't it? Or I love that sound. Don't you love that sound? I might punch through my television screen. Like, shut up. Shut up. We know you like champagne. You have a fucking champagne button in your house. All you do is talk about Champs. I love Champs. Like, just please shut up. Just shut up. Stop making Champs a thing. Like, we get it. People drink champagne. Don't make it your personality. No one cares. We know you're rich. Great. Good for you. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it.
I just never really appreciate the word Champs in general.
It's called champagne. Just say champagne. Just say, like, why do you have to say Champs? That's not like a cute thing. You're an adult woman. Just say champagne.
Mm-hmm. Also, and I'm not much of a drinker, but like, I've never really known anybody in my circles when they go out to be like, yes, a glass of champagne. I'm going to be drinking champagne the whole night, please.
No.
The only time that happens is at bottomless mimosas.
Yeah, and like that's just you're asking for a hangover. Those bubbles really get you. Like a glass of champagne for a toast is fine-ish, but like just drink an adult drink.
Yeah, why is that?
Like you don't need to drink champagne
more than one glass of that is just confusing to me.
Same. And it's, I mean, whatever, she's rich, but like, and it's expensive. And like, just get a cocktail or get a glass of wine. You don't need to just make champagne your entire personality. It's really driven me crazy since she started the show. And it's just like, I feel like now it's over the top.
Yeah.
Like she's really trying to make it a thing. And I can't do it anymore. Heather can go. I didn't really want her back. I'm not enjoying her presence. I'm ready for her to go again.
We're going to have no one left by the end of this, where they're all being voted off the island.
Yeah, I know I'm in the minority, but like I'll keep Shannon. I don't care.
I mean,
she at least makes me laugh. Like the other ones like give me nothing.
Mm-hmm. Emily hasn't been bad this season.
Yeah, Emily's been okay actually, and Gina's been kind of fine. Like I just kind of wish that they would not openly hate Shannon as much, because I feel like when like Emily and Shannon are together drinking and having a good time, they seem like they have fun. But then like I don't know, there's also this weird like we hate Shannon part of them that it's just like uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree. The thing I took from this whole dinner is the fact that they're rich enough to get like mobile hibachi.
Yes. Like, the guy's name. What was the guy's name? And then his brother had like the same name.
Oh shit. Circles? Was Circles a thing?
So it was something. He had like a first name and then like a last name that was like very.
The letter W was involved. I remember that. It wasn't Whoopi. I don't know. I just know that I was incredibly jealous, and when John's like, it's like Benny, you can't do that at Benihana, and Shannon's like, it's Shannihana now, or whatever. I don't know, it just made me really want to have hibachi for a meal, and I don't have the money to have a grill set up in my kitchen to do it, which means I'm gonna have to make a trip, I guess. I don't know, but I just want to have open access to hibachi whenever I want. I don't think that's too much to ask.
It's not.
Right. Well, after dinner on the boat, we have a dinner of Shannon, Emily, and Noella, which the only thing I took from this was the stack of vaginas.
Yeah, and like that it was at the same booth of the Quiet Women when we got the iconic, "This isn't my plate, you fucking bitch." That's like the quote of Shannon's entire life. Like imagine that, being known for that, someone saying keep eating and you throwing a plate and saying this isn't my plate, you fucking bitch. I'll take it. I mean, it's an iconic scene. But yeah, they were at that same booth. But yeah, stack of vaginas. Is this a thing?
I mean, I've seen at least one picture of it. So.
Like from this episode?
Just this episode. That's it. Okay. Never before, never after.
Yeah, like is this a thing? I just would love to know. I was very confused. I was as confused as Shannon and Emily were. Like, what is the what? How does that
Noella was
work?
saying like it was it her fantasy or her
Yeah, I think it was
husband's
her.
fantasy?
I think it was hers. Didn't he like give it to her for her birthday? Give her a stack of vaginas for her birthday?
Oh, see, I thought the picture was like her taking it to give to him as a gift. I don't know.
Oh,
Either
maybe
way,
she was on the bottom of the stack. That's all I know.
what do you do when you're stacked like that?
I don't
Nothing. You're just
know
laying on
what
top
you're
of each
just
other.
laying on top of each other, right? That's like I don't
What
know what
comes
the
from that?
purpose of it is.
I don't know. I need to get off this topic because that just
I want to
anyway.
do research, but I'm like scared to do
No,
research, you
that's not
know?
for me.
Yeah.
I still work with kids. I don't need them looking up my fucking
Yeah,
search
fair.
history,
That's
right?
fair.
Like, nope, not for me.
Maybe we can just live in this mystery, this
Yeah, I think
cloud
that's
of
probably a better
mystery.
place for it.
Mm-hmm.
After we get Heather hosting Dr. Jen at Dr. Jen's house, which when she showed up, did you notice that she
Oh
had
my
a
God, I
bag?
forgot that that even happened.
Yeah.
I forgot
They
that that even happened.
she had like a gift bag that said Dubrow on it. Like
She makes me sick.
personally made gift bags that
Yeah, she makes
I
me
don't know.
want to throw up.
The whole thing she did though with the pineapples though, that was
That
kind
was
of cool.
cool.
Like you can come over and do that for me, Heather. I
Yeah,
can
or just like
entertain
let
you
me
for
know
your
what
night.
tool that is,
Yeah,
and I'll.
would it be called like a pineapple decor?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I know they exist because my partner is a bartender and he's talked about it with
Mm.
like when you were talking about
Hmm.
like fruity drinks or something. I don't know. I don't know. I know jack shit about like hard alcohol and cocktails and
Yeah.
all that. So I do remember talking about a tool like that. And so I think that they're like somewhat well known, but at the same time, like I don't buy full pineapples for the mere fact of like I'm
No,
not
me
gonna
too.
deconstruct that shit. Someone do that for me.
Yeah, like I'll buy like cubed, pre-cubed
Yep.
pineapples. Yeah.
Yeah. The stores are great at having that available, so you don't really need
Yes.
to do it.
Yes.
But if Heather wants to make me that pineapple drink, even with her champagne, I'm in. I'll do that.
Well, that seemed like it was champagne mixed with something, so that I was like, okay, like I would drink that.
Yeah, it looks good.
It did look good, look refreshing.
And what doesn't look good is the future of Dr. Jen's marriage, though.
No, no.
It's kind of crazy to me that like Dr. Jen kind of like, as much as she seems to want it to work, it doesn't seem like she is emotionally invested in wanting it to work. Like she doesn't seem very fazed by what she's saying, and is just very much able to say like I've been able to create this empire.
Mhm.
How don't you appreciate this? I don't know.
Right.
The way she's able to compartmentalize, and it just feels like she doesn't really understand why Ryan might be upset with this relationship.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like she has any emotion at all, really. She has like one speed, and then like eventually she'll be like, just tell me you're proud of me. And then if you don't tell me the way I want you to, I'm gonna cry about it.
Well, if we want to fast forward to that conversation, we can, because that's at the end where like
Yeah.
Dr. Jen and her husband are just sitting there and she's trying to tell him like, I need you to tell me that you're proud of me. Can you do that right now? Like,
Mhm.
how patronizing was that
Right.
conversation?
And he was like, no, I'm not doing this right now.
Well, he did try. He was like,
He
you must
tried,
have
yeah.
hard days at work. And
Yeah.
then for you to come home and after those hard days, that must be hard. Like it was something just not good.
Yeah.
And she's like, stop paying attention to the dog. Pay attention to me. And he's like, no, I'm going for a walk with the dog.
The whole thing like devolved really quickly and was very bizarre. And it felt like he just didn't want to have the conversation on camera.
That's exactly
Is
what I was thinking.
Yeah. And she was just like, no, I need to stay on this show. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to have this conversation on camera. But in reality, no one cares, Jen. No one cares. So you don't have to have the conversation at all on camera because we are not going to miss it. We don't care.
Yeah. I just felt uncomfortable watching it because, like, you can
It was
tell
very
that
uncomfortable.
it feels like there's little to no chance of this relationship surviving.
Yeah.
It just feels like if there were any motivation that both people would maybe be a little bit more emotionally invested, and
Right.
it just feels like Dr. Jen knew that she could get a divorce on camera and be able to
Mm-hmm.
profit off of it.
Yep.
And maybe even Ryan to an extent too. But
Maybe. He does get confessionals.
Yeah, he does. So I don't know. I know we see more of it because in the preview they're like, our Dr. Jones like he packed up his stuff and left. Did he leave with the kids? I can't remember if she said that. But
I hope so, for the kids' sake.
Yeah, because otherwise they have no one. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
they will be fending for themselves.
The nanny who is very motherly can take care of them.
That's true.
He definitely left with the dog, though. There's no way that the dog.
There's no way he left with the dog. Yeah,
that is 100%. He's more likely to take the dog than the kids.
Yeah. Did he take any shirts?
Maybe 2.
For rainy days. That's like a good rotation. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For rainy days, that's it.
Yeah.
Those don't happen much out there, from what I understand. So he should be good for a little while, at least 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, it'll last. Yeah, for sure.
The only other thing that happened was the game night, and
Noelle, it's really sad game night.
Yeah, the like toilet paper thing. Those seem like things that I would do with like kids at camp.
I feel like we have seen this game before on Housewives, have we not? Maybe not with them. I feel it's just like I was watching it and I was like, I feel like I have seen this before. Like another Housewives franchise has done this. I have seen it. I don't know where I saw it, but I've seen it. I
just know that those are games we would do at like our evening activity for camp, where we would have like a bunch of like minute to win it type of games. That was that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got a demonstration of the stack of vaginas.
Yes. That also happened.
So it literally is just women laying on top of each other.
Yeah.
Assumingly naked, so you can see their vaginas.
I mean, the picture that we
naked
saw,
from the bottom down anyway. Yeah, did we actually see the picture? Because I must have missed it.
Picture that I saw. Noella showed someone at some point, and it was just because Shannon guessed which vagina was Noella's.
Oh, I totally missed that. That's
why I'm here, to make sure that you get all of the
I don't know how I missed that
you need. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime. Just, send a message and I'll do my best for you.
Well, now I kind of want to go back and see the picture.
It looked like it
Can't
was
believe I missed
3 women in like French maid outfits, and you just saw them like laying on top of each other, and it was from behind. That's how they knew what it was supposed to look like, because I think they showed the picture at the dinner.
Right. Okay.
Because
I don't know.
Emily, I think, comes up and is like, let's make a vagina stack, and like pushes, like Shannon over maybe or something. I don't know. So yeah, they definitely saw the picture at dinner. There is a picture if you need to go back.
I might.
You fast forward to the dinner part. It definitely, I think I'm almost 100% confident it was during the dinner.
Okay. I'll go back.
The only other thing that happened was like Noella and Gina talked about friendship. And they're like,
who cares
right now? Yeah.
I don't care about them either. I feel bad, but like, I just don't care. I just don't care about any of this. It's like, they don't even know each other. Why do I care if you're like in a fight in Cabo and now you're not? Like, you don't even know each other. You just met.
Yeah. I just don't care about Noella, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like she had potential, but everything is just so forced with her. She's trying too hard. It's like, what's her face's second season? Sorry, the Roomba just beeped at me. I forgot that.
No, that's okay.
It definitely startled both me and Nitro. What's her face on New York, who just had her second season and was
Leah?
Yes. She has second season Leah vibes to me. For sure. So
yes.
But that was OC. There we are in the middle of it does seem like there's a little bit of drama next week. We'll see how if it ends up being any more interesting than where we're at.
Yeah, it seems like we're going to start to get this storyline of, I don't know if it's Shannon that's supposedly jealous of this relationship with Gina and Heather, or if it's Emily that's jealous with the relationship of Gina and Heather. But there are questions of like, does that make you jealous that she's going to this New York tour of the full state of New York with Gina? I feel like it was Emily asking the question, so I guess she's asking Shannon.
Yeah.
So that also seems a little manufactured, but
yeah. And then Emily was yelling something at the end of the preview too, I think. Was it at Noella? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She was like, all you do is talk about your divorce.
Yes.
It. Like,
yes.
So Noella's not going to take that well.
No.
But we'll see.
Well, that's all we have for Orange County. I mean, we're sticking through it. Yeah, I wonder what Andy Cohen was thinking when he said this is a return to form. Like, what's the form? Like a blob?
He said that?
Yeah, he said, well, when Kelly Dodd was talking about how the ratings were bad on Twitter, he responded and was like, it's great and it's a return to form or something like that. And I think he said it on a couple of times that he's like really proud of the season because it feels like it's like back to its old self, which I don't know about that, Andrew.
And she dropped the government name on you.
I don't know about that, Andrew. You have some explaining to do because this is a terrible season. I don't know if it's because the other seasons have just been so good lately. Like maybe if this was the only thing on, it would be fine, but it just does not hold a candle to anything else that we're watching. Even like, Potomac was on very recently. That was great. Salt Lake City is just constant chaos and it's great. New Jersey starting off with a bang, already good. Like it just, I don't know. It's just there, just existing, taking up space.
Someone always has to be in last place,
It's true. That's true. It's a good point.
Orange County is it for now.
Yep.
All right. Katie, I watched New Jersey twice.
Yes.
I understand about 40% of what's going on.
Okay.
I might be giving myself a little bit too much credit there.
But 40% is good.
Okay. Then lead me, guide me, help me understand what is going on here. Because there's just so much anger and we're 2 episodes in.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that the season is starting off like this. I really didn't expect it to be so like fresh out of the gate. Everybody hates each other. Like I don't know if I just didn't remember that the season ended the way that it did last season, but I am a little bit surprised. So, yeah, we kind of picked up where we left off at the party, and Jen leaves because Margaret exposed her husband's affair from 10 years ago.
She was a pharmaceutical rep. She was a pharmaceutical rep.
Yeah.
Get it right.
You fucking idiot. Which I have never been like a huge Jen fan. I've come around to her over her last season or two, but she's never been one of my favorites. And the way that these women are treating her, I do not understand. Like there's this false equivalency that they have here because I think maybe I mentioned this last week, but Margaret's relationship is based off of an affair. She had an affair with Joe when she was with her last husband. And Jen brings this up very often. But Margaret is the one who cheated. Jen is not the one who cheated. Her husband cheated on her. When she was about to give birth to her child and had other kids already. Like that's a traumatic thing to go through and to find out about. So I don't know why Margaret thinks that this is like she's a hypocrite. It's Jen didn't do anything. Jen's husband did something. So I don't understand how like exposing that gets her back for anything. It's not making sense.
That like I want to say put in perspective. That gives it too much credit. But like someone made a comment for her to have said all these things when she does live in a glass house. And I think that explained it a bit in terms of like, yeah, she wasn't the one who cheated. It was her husband. Like you can't control your husband cheating. He's a grown-ass man who can make whatever decisions he wants. Yeah. However, like you're now in a similar situation where also you're taking him back and you aren't dragging his ass across town. If anything, you kept it secret from everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you told no one, but you're willing to put everybody else on blast. So I guess I understand the glass house comment of like, wow, you were running your mouth, but look at you, like, look what you have to deal with now.
Yeah, I get that. I think part of it is too, like, maybe this is why Jen feels so strongly about Margaret having an affair on her husband because it happened to her. So maybe that's why she like really has no room to even understand like where Margaret could have been coming from in that situation. Because it feels to me like what it seems like and how it's being presented is that Bill had an affair on Jen, and Jen found out right before she gave birth and then never told anybody and was left to just like deal with these emotions on her own while being hormonal, while having a newborn, while having a husband who's a plastic surgeon who's also not around very often and having these other kids. It's like she probably just like compartmentalized it, put it away, never actually dealt with any of the feelings that she had when she was just like, whatever, I'll take him back. Like I have a newborn. What am I going to do? She even said like, I have no income of my own. Like I'm a stay-at-home mom. So she made a decision.
They never even spoke about it after. Like
right. So husband. Like it just went away to her. Yeah. She just, and now it's coming out again and she hears about all these other people having affairs and whatever. And it's like, maybe she's just deflecting onto these other people and like these emotions that she's never dealt with are now coming out in other ways. And then maybe that's why she's so angry sometimes. Like you have to kind of think about it from like the bigger picture if you're some of these women, but they're using it as like ammo against Jen, which is, I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it. But what are you going to do? I don't know.
Mhm.
I just am like surprised at this like villain edit that Margaret and some of the other women are getting right off the bat, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and something else that came up along the lines of it, which I need your help filling in, is Teresa made a comment of like, so how is it so bad of what I did, which it seems like she told some sort of rumor.
Yes.
And at someone's party, but like you came and did the same thing about Jen. I don't know. Like I'm not 100% understanding that.
Yes. So last year, I think it might have been the first episode of last year's season. It was Evan, who is Jackie's husband's birthday. And Jackie had like a little party outdoors. And during his birthday party, Teresa said to maybe Margaret, maybe Dolores, I don't know exactly. I heard that he's having an affair with someone that he goes to the gym with. Like there's a rumor. Someone told me. And then it like got really blown up and saying like, oh, she didn't say it to Jackie. She said it to either like Dolores or Margaret. And then it kind of got blown up from there. And that was like kind of the season storyline of Teresa said this rumor. It's not true. Why would she say that? It was his birthday party. So she's saying everybody was mad at me for saying a rumor, not even to Evan himself at Evan's birthday party, but you can say this to Jen at my party and I'm not allowed to be mad about it, which is a little bit of a flawed logic.
Yeah.
And like, what I love is when the producers are like, can you see now like how and she's just like, it was a rumor. Like, it's just like, she really makes me laugh. She is just, yeah.
Okay. That makes a bit more sense.
And that kind of ties into some of the conversation around like Jen digging for information on like Evan's supposed affair. That's apparently not true. So I guess that kind of like was something that happened that like Margaret exposed about, she was calling people and she called Frank, who's Dolores's ex-husband, and was asking because it sounded like Frank said he knew something. This is like where it gets a little muddy for me because like a lot of it all happened off camera and it's just, I don't know. It seems like that's where a lot of feelings are coming from.
Got it. Okay. That helps too.
Yeah.
So what happened after the
We also have Gia and her Uncle Joe.
Right. I like Gia.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to like Gia?
I like Gia too. I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, the kids aren't off limits anymore if Gia wants to get in the mix. But like, she's an adult now, as she said. And I don't blame her for having this reaction to Joe. He just consistently talks about her father, and these kids have been through so much with their family, and they lost their grandparents who they were really close to very recently. That both of their parents went away. Her dad, we talked about this last week, but her dad is deported. Can't really defend. I mean, he can defend himself. He has a phone. He has like, media and whatever, but he's just not there. He's not there with his family. And like, of course, I'm sure he regrets what he did, but just stop talking about it. Just stop talking about it. She has every right to be angry, I think. And so do the other kids.
She seemed very reasonable in her conversations where like if I had to pick a winner, I think she wins.
I think so too.
And Joe is that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe is the adult.
When in doubt, they're named Joe.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Joe's the adult. And it just seemed like Gia was being far more mature about the conversation.
Oh yeah, he kicks and screams like he's a little baby and is like, I'm your godfather and your uncle and I'm older than you, and like, oh, I'm always the bad guy. I'm always bad. And it's like, yeah, well, you run your mouth. You and your wife run your mouths, and like you wanna always seem like you're the good guy because Joe Giudice is not a good guy. Like he's not. But like that's her dad. And that's your sister's ex-husband. That's part of your family, whether you like it or not. And like, you just have to stop talking about it. That's it. Just stop talking about it. The guy doesn't live here. He's not on the show anymore. He's not around. Just stop talking about it.
He gives me the energy of like the teacher who expects to be respected because they're the adult in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're doing this because I say so and not for any. And I mean, especially like kids Gia's age, which again, she's adult. So adults.
Yeah.
That whole age range like just doesn't respond well to that in general anyway. So It also just seems like a conflict of generations, especially like
totally
in a deep-rooted like Italian family where like family is everything and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, I see a bunch of different perspectives on it, but I just thought that like Gia handled herself so well. I would love to see if Gia's around more, like good. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
In more things, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if you have ever seen the TikTok of like waking up in the morning thinking about so many things.
I told you that I didn't realize.
Yes, that's
her. It came up on the our hug that
yes, it did.
That I was like, oh, that's what that's from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think we saw Gia turn like 4 or 5 or 6 or something. I mean, like we saw her when she was like truly a little child. Like, so it's kind of crazy to see her as a full adult standing her ground. She's been through so much. She has her head really on her shoulders, and like so do her sisters. Like, just like leave these kids, like they've been through enough, like stop digging their family through the mud. That's kind of how I feel about it. And I'm glad that Gia is mature enough to handle the situation in a mature way. And that look that she gave Melissa was in the trailer when she kind of like looked up and gave her that like evil eye. That was in the trailer for the season. Everybody thought she was looking at Joe, but now we find out she's looking at Melissa that way. And I kind of like I was living for it a little bit. Like I can't stand Joe and Melissa, so I was living for it.
Yeah, that was I mean, the whole party thing just like it went for a while, but that I thought was just an interesting scene to see, like especially because the information I got about Gia and the daughters in general beforehand was like, if they're going to be this involved, then just make them a housewife type of thing. When it's like,
yeah, we don't need that.
She's has every right to be as involved as she is right now.
Of course, yeah. And like, you know, it kind of like New Jersey is very like family driven in general because the cast has always been related. Like there's always been people who have been related on the show. It started with the Manzos being related. Then it started with Teresa and Melissa. And like, it's just always been like very family oriented show, which kind of is very similar in a way to what old seasons of the OC used to be like, with Brianna was involved and Gina's kids like Shane and whatever, the both awful children. So it's kind of like that. Like they weren't housewives. It's just like showing their families, and we've been with this family since the late 2000s. So like I don't see there being a problem that Gia is like an adult now and involved in the drama, similar to how Brianna was with Brooks.
That makes sense to me.
People used to call for Brianna to be a housewife too, though. Yeah. But it just doesn't seem right. Like they're not.
Brianna just didn't have the personality for being a housewife. She was always like the voice of reason, to be fair. Yeah. She had a good head on her shoulders too.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting about this little argument was that Teresa was kind of like nowhere to be found. Like she was really staying out of it, which she doesn't often stay out of things, especially when it comes to her daughters. So I was a little bit surprised to see her not really like in the mix as much, because Melissa was trying to mediate. Teresa, it felt like she was just like off somewhere. I don't even know, hosting a party.
She's like, I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I was like, all right.
Okay, I guess it's resolved.
Okay.
So then what happened after? Because we have the thing with, if I was saying this to you earlier, is I can see them. I don't know who is who still. Like, yeah,
that's okay.
I should have a cast photo up. That would be responsible, but I'm not going to do it.
No,
I'm going to live through your explanation.
Sure, that's fine.
Because I remember at the end, it was the like Dolores's townhouse.
Yes.
Party. Did we have things in between?
Yeah, there was I don't exactly remember the chronological order of these things, but Dolores and Margaret went shopping for furniture. And Dolores was on Jen's side and then decided to flip and say she's not on Jen's side anymore because of what Margaret told her about calling Frank and then calling a friend that she knows from Tenafly, which like we're getting really into like this New Jersey like geography here. We're like talking about Tenafly. It's just like very weird. But yeah, so now Margaret was like, well, I did think what you did was wrong, but now I don't. And then she like kind of stayed really in that like firm. I guess this was after Jen's party because Jen had a party for her daughter and Teresa came and she's like, oh, happy birthday. And she's like, it's not her birthday. Her birthday's in the winter.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Because I didn't catch it the first time. And when I got the second, I'm like, oh shit, that's funny. Like,
yeah.
Like her birthday's in January. She just never gets to have a pool party for it. And like, oh, okay. It just like keeps going.
Yeah, Teresa's like, all right. So they go inside, whatever, they're talking, and like Teresa really has Jen's back. Teresa and Jen are actually friends. Like they're friends. So Teresa will have her back for sure. And Teresa just does not like Margaret. And it seems like things are gonna go down with Margaret in the future anyway. But that's when Dolores is saying, like, yeah, it's not right, whatever. Then she goes and meets Margaret, and she's like, actually, I'm on your side now, and it's fine. And it seems like Jen and Jackie also meet up, and Jackie wants to kind of like have Jen's back a little bit in the situation, kind of like be there for her. They've never had a good relationship, these two. They've been at it from the beginning. So it's kind of interesting that Jackie decides to show up for her in this way, but I'm not mad at it.
You know what I think is confusing me is that the blonde who is Tiki's wife.
Oh, I don't even know her. What's her name?
Exactly. That's the issue.
She's just there. Yeah.
I keep confusing her with, I think,
Jackie. Yeah.
And so
that makes
not
sense.
realizing like who is who. But I'm getting it, because Jackie is Jackie's husband, Evan.
Yes.
The one that okay.
Yes.
It's connecting.
Yeah. So that's her husband is the one that Jen is trying to get the information on when she's calling all these people. But and Jackie's kind of like, well, I know that you're doing that, but like it makes me feel better that you dug so far and you didn't find anything. So like whatever, it's fine.
And she makes the comment like, I just don't like seeing another woman in pain and like feeling on her own like this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have her back and be her friend despite the fact that she's been shitty to me.
Yeah, which is nice. It's nice of her. Yeah. Like Jackie's kind of like watching paint dry, but you know, it is what it is. I'm surprised that she's even on the show anymore at this point. But then I think it's Dolores's party, which Teresa shows up late to. Yeah, but if I were Jen and this was my friend, I'd be like, we're going together. Yeah. Like if I'm walking in with to these women who all just like exposed me, and this is the first time that I'm seeing them, I'm making sure that my one friend in the group is showing up with me. Mm-hmm. Did not happen.
No, poor planning on her part.
Really poor.
Or you also show up very late if you know that your friend always shows up late, because that seemed to be a thing that like Teresa's always late.
Yeah. Yeah. Teresa just lives in her own. She just does what she wants. She knows like the show essentially revolves around her, even though this season she's kind of like almost seems like she's in the background for now background, aside from like the video of it all.
The video. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess so. We're at Dolores's townhouse that she apparently lives in because Frank is redoing her actual house, and she didn't have a place to live while the house is being redone, so she got this townhouse. I don't really understand the purpose
Frank
of it.
Is the ex-husband, right?
Frank is the ex-husband.
But is there like a boyfriend? Is there a David?
There's a boyfriend named David. Okay, so this is the boyfriend. David is Dolores's boyfriend. He's a doctor. And he has always like not really been present. So her storyline with David has really been like, he's not proposing to her. They don't spend a lot of time together. There's no future for them. And Dolores historically has always been like, it works for us and we're happy. Like, this is what we're happy with. And he's the one that like nursed Frank back to health when Frank broke both of his legs and Frank lived with him. It was like very weird. Now it sounds like they're on the rocks, and we know like in real life they are not together anymore. She has a new boyfriend, so it's just a matter of time for her and David to no longer be together on the show anyway.
And it was like heavily implied that they're basically not dating.
Yeah,
mean anyway.
She was pretty much like, yeah, no, we don't see each other and whatever. So now she lives in this townhouse while Frank is redoing the old house. I think is why she has this house. I don't know, but they all seem to like really like the house. It's cute. Gives me like big Robin from Potomac energy. This townhouse that's like attached to other homes. But yeah, then one thing I did notice is that the thermostat in the house was set to 79 degrees, and they're definitely filming in the summer because they were talking about how hot it was at Jen's party. And I was like, this feels like a nightmare, like being at this house with 79 degrees in the summer.
Yeah, that is warm.
Nightmare.
That is very warm.
Really warm. It was like right behind Margaret's head, and I was like, oof.
I was in Florida in March when it was like in the high 80s, and they wouldn't let us put the thermostat below 73. And I was like, this is where I die. So that would be, I would melt.
Yeah, it's terrible. Especially with that humidity. Oh, terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yes. New Jersey, humid, like just in general, that area. Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't see that at all, though. So thank you for
that's one thing that I noticed, and I was like, oh, no, that's really bad. Really bad. And then I guess, like, what else happened? So Jen shows up.
And instantly breaks down.
Yeah. And I feel bad for her. I do feel bad for her. Even like the party that she had seemed very like sad and like dark. It all just feels very dark. Like this story feels very dark. New Jersey does have a tendency to get like on the dark side of things. It's not like light and fluffy. It just feels dark sometimes. This is one of those storylines where I feel like it's not going to be a fun one to watch. It's going to be like a little bit more on the sad side.
I mean, probably doesn't help that at the party that she had, like her husband, who is the one that caused all of this, by the way,
was hiding
in his room. Like it was kind of like the whole Louis video where they're like, address the elephant so the elephant isn't here anymore. Like if you're gonna camp out in your like away from the party that your family is hosting,
right,
you're going to have to face people at some point. Like, just get it over with.
Right, exactly.
It probably makes the whole situation more difficult because it also probably makes Jen feel like she's shouldering all of this on her own, and in a time when like she didn't do anything. Wrong. Like,
she didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, so now she has to take the backlash for it and then like pick up all the pieces again, which she already did once, you know, he did what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. So she immediately like gets overwhelmed and goes and sits down, and Jackie starts talking to her. And then Dolores comes in hot and is like, what are you crying for?
What's wrong with you?
What are you crying? Why are you crying? It's like, why the fuck do you think she's crying, Dolores? She's overwhelmed. And that's what she said. She's like, I'm overwhelmed. Like, this is a lot. And then Margaret comes in and she's like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? And then she says something about like, Jen makes it a point to say like, nobody knew about this and now my kids know. And she's like, kids are resilient. They'll get over it.
Oh, something that therapy, they'll be fine.
Yeah. And something that you should know about Margaret is that she had kids. Well, I think she has maybe one biological child, perhaps, but she had stepkids that she raised with her first husband, who none of them talk to her anymore because of the affair that she had. So it's like, are kids resilient, Marge? Because none of your kids who you consider your kids, she says like, these are my kids. And they haven't spoken to you in years and years and years.
Yeah.
So why are you and like, just because kids might be resilient, like things like this stick with kids and has like an impact on them as they are adults. Like, it's just is like actually gross that that's something that she would say. Like, it's just like, these kids didn't do anything. And like, now they have to find out all of this terrible information. And like, people are terrible on the internet. And like, they're just, I don't know. Jen said in an interview that the way that her daughter found out about this is because someone left a comment on her TikTok, because there were rumors about when all this was filming that this was going to be the storyline. So someone left a comment on her daughter's TikTok saying like, oh, your dad cheated on your mom or whatever. And she's like, that's not true. And then Jen had to sit down with her daughter and tell her everything, which is terrible. I mean, it's just terrible. That's really like pretty sad that strangers are commenting on this actual child's TikTok.
Yeah. Whether or not they've chosen to be in the public eye, when you don't get to control the narrative about a situation like that within your family, like that's just so hurtful that that sucks.
Yeah.
I also thought it was kind of like Dolores's way of approaching it when she was just like, well, I think you can hold it together for now. Like just something along those lines.
Yeah, she like was stone cold, did not care at all.
Yeah, the two of them, like, how do you think you're making the situation any better right now? Like, you're only going to incite more emotions from this woman if you're gonna talk to her the way you are.
It all just seems like none of these women should be involved or even like talking about this. It's something that happened 10 years ago. They're looking just for dirt. They're spreading it around, and everything that they're doing is just as bad, if not worse, than what Jen tried to do to Jackie. Like, it's just like, you are the bad guys now. Do you realize that? Like, before you had a leg to stand on, now you have nothing. You guys are the bad guys.
This was 10 years ago?
I think it was 10 years ago. Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, why does it matter?
Exactly. So now Jen has to get all of these like emotions and feelings brought up from something that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then has to deal with it all over again in the public eye, and then have everybody litigate it on the internet and, give their feelings like I'm doing right now.
If Jen, I get like, because Jen is bringing up the cheating stuff about Margaret, right? And wasn't that from a long time ago? Margaret made it seem like it was like
from a long time
30 years ago.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago.
But so I guess like tit for tat in that way, maybe. But I didn't realize it was 10 years ago. I thought it was like within the last year, like between.
No, it was about 10 years ago. Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah, the whole thing is very like, before it was very easy to say like Jen is an asshole because she keeps talking about this stuff with Margaret. And now it's like, well, you guys are really making Jen the sympathetic one here. Like we will be sympathetic towards her now because you're really dragging her whole family for no reason.
I'm understanding how you were like, oh, maybe it's her reacting towards Margaret because she's been in because I remember the montage of like all over years that she's been making these comments, and so I didn't exactly understand because again I thought it happened like within the last year and a half or something, but she's projecting her distaste for someone cheating onto Margaret because her husband did something similar, but people
I'm sure that has something to do with it.
I get what you're saying.
Nobody knew. She's like, my mom didn't know. Nobody knew. I kept it to myself. It was when she had one of her kids, I think one of her sons, and her kids are like relatively old. They're not like old, but they're not like toddlers.
Old enough. Yeah, they were giving her a hard time about her nose, I remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, shoot, I literally just watched this like 3 hours ago, not even. How did it end?
I think they were still at the party at Dolores' house. And I know Teresa was kind of talking to Dolores and was like, so you don't think she did anything wrong? Because Dolores was saying like she did do something, Margaret was wrong. And now it's like she completely flipped, which is just, part of me, I think it's because she tried to get Frank involved and Dolores is like very loyal to, even though Frank also cheated on her and that's why they broke up. But she's very loyal to Frank, and anything that comes up with Frank, she'll like have his back forever. So I think it's because she tried to bring Frank into it that now Dolores has flipped. But I don't think she's actually said that, but that's what I would assume why she actually cares so much. Because Dolores doesn't really like Jackie either.
Got it.
Like she's always been very like meh on Jackie.
Okay. And so then for Jackie to be like there for her, it put her into like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like
what are you doing mode.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And then we see next week.
Next week it seems like we're getting into a fight.
Oh yeah. Dolores and Margaret?
Maybe Dolores and Jackie?
Okay, the blonde's still, man.
I don't think it's Dolores and Margaret, but I think it is Dolores. Maybe Dolores and Jackie.
Yeah,
I'm like, how the hell does this happen?
Hostility that happens.
Yeah. Which I'm looking forward to. Seems like we're getting multiple physical altercations this season. Yeah. At least 3 that I can count from the trailer.
That's a lot. Especially if
it is
like
a lot.
12 to 14 episodes. That's like 1 every 4 episodes.
Jam-packed.
So, yes, lots of fighting. Nothing un-New Jersey-ish if I were to relate to the New Jersey Shore and things I've seen there. So
Right. How are you feeling about New Jersey so far? I know it's like hard because it is overwhelming. It's even overwhelming to like keep track of it as someone who has the history, because it feels like it's a lot of it is like old, like drudged up stuff.
Well, that's shit's 10 years old that they're bringing up, and I'm thinking it's like a year. Yeah, so there's a lot. I'm enjoying it I'm trying to keep the vision on like what's in front of me right now, and not try to figure out too much and like let you help me with that. So I'm definitely entertained by it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I am excited to get through Atlanta so I can go back and watch, because I feel like it'll be very like Cynthia for me. In terms of in Kenya, who I just like Kenya more and more every time. Like as Atlanta goes on, like I don't want to say I'm team Kenya, but I just
she's a great housewife.
Yeah,
she's a great housewife.
So I have a feeling it's going to be like that for me in watching Teresa and Melissa.
Well, there are 2 sides to this. There are a lot of people who are team Teresa and a lot of people who are team Melissa. So I'm interested to see where you net out.
Yes.
Through my first watch when it was happening live on TV, I was on Melissa's side, and really like on the Manzo's side back then. It was more so the Manzos than Melissa. But now on my rewatch, I'm anti all of them, and I'm riding for Teresa forever. I rewatched it during COVID, and I was like, oh, what was I thinking? How could I have ever been on the side of these people?
Isn't it crazy how you can rewatch something and have like a totally different perspective based off of like the timing of when you've rewatched it?
Yep.
I know like Harry Potter can be somewhat problematic if you look at it from what's her face being the author, but like I've reread that series in like when it came out. I reread it in my 20s. It's going to come up again in my 30s because I'm trying to do it once a decade, and just like even the difference between the first time I read it and the second time, it's like, oh shit, like these are the exact same books and I'm doing it so much different way. Same thing with this type of stuff. Yeah, no, I'm interested in seeing how like how I perceive it because I've gotten to experience them now and then like get to see what brought them to now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm definitely enjoying it. More so than Orange County, and I have watched every single episode of Orange County and understand where all the drama from like before comes from. Not that there's much, but you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm ready. I really want to get into the previous seasons though, but not until Atlanta's done.
Yeah.
Can you give us an update on how Cynthia's doing on Big Brother? Because I only know what's going on via Twitter. So
yes. So Cynthia is the house in Big Brother right now. Yeah, we'll talk Big Brother spoilers so if anybody is not interested in being spoiled on up to date as of last night, that's what I know what's going on as of last night. I don't know anything that's happened today, but Cynthia's doing somewhat well. The house is divided into two alliances essentially. So Cynthia is really closely aligned with Carson Kressley. Love them. They're doing great. They're like just great, like nice people. They're not like dragging each other down in the mud. And they're also aligned with Shayna Mokler, who's Travis Barker's ex-wife. And they had Chris Kirkpatrick on their side as well, but he was kind of like playing the middle. He used to be on Todrick Hall's side along with Misha, who is the UFC fighter, and Todd Bridges. And then there's like Lamar Odom that's in the middle, who is like a gem. He's the best part of this whole show. He's just great. He just constantly delivers. So Misha was HOH twice and was targeting Cynthia. Targeting Carson and Cynthia. Cynthia was on the block last week next to Carson, which was not great for her. Shayna won the veto and took down Carson. So they put Chris Kirkpatrick up next to Cynthia on the block, the other side of the house, because he was formerly aligned with them. Now he's no longer aligned with them. And they thought that he was like coming for them. So Chris Kirkpatrick kind of got backdoored a little bit, even though there was like I know there's a lot of like drama about the term backdoor if you're a Big Brother fan and what is a true backdoor and what's not. So yeah, he was a replacement nominee. He went home. So Cynthia came out fine.
Oh, Chris Kirkpatrick is gone?
Chris Kirkpatrick is gone.
I didn't even realize
as of last night. Yeah, last night. The eviction was last night. That's why. Yeah. So he's gone. Cynthia's fine. But when Chris Kirkpatrick was put up as the replacement nominee, Cynthia came out and was speaking to Todd Bridges in the kitchen. And when Teddy was on the block, there was this twist that at the nomination or at the elimination ceremony or eviction ceremony, whatever it's called in Big Brother, they were able to like do this like last minute replacement. It was called like Mon Juan twist. It was very stupid. And so Chris Kattan was left with the power to name a new nominee, and he could choose between Lamar and Todd Bridges, and he chose Todd Bridges. So that Todd Bridges was up against Teddy when she was the first eviction. So Cynthia voted for Todd to be evicted so she could keep Teddy in the house. She had to deal with Teddy. They were working together. So did Carson, maybe one other person. And Todd Bridges is like holding a grudge about that. So Cynthia says something like, oh, if you wanted to talk or whatever, vote for me. And he was like, well, I'm not voting for you. Like, you voted for me. You cut my throat. I cut your throat. And she was like, she got upset about it. So watching the feeds, we see her come into one of the bedrooms. She says something to Misha, the UFC fighter, and Todrick Hall, and was like, I have nothing to talk about. I'm fine. If I go out of this game, she was upset. She was like emotional. She's like, if I go out of this game, at least I held my head up high and I have integrity. And she's like, I just don't like the way this game is going. And like, I have nothing to talk about. Went in a room. And that's all you really saw. And then watching the feeds, all you hear is Cynthia go, like they're in another room. And then you hear Cynthia say, and another thing. And she comes out of the room and then like the feeds cut. So we didn't really know what was going on. Then the feeds come back on and we hear Todd Bridges come into the bathroom screaming, saying like, well, fuck you and fuck that. Like very like, he was like on one. He was pissed. So it seemed very intense. So it turns out they got into it. We didn't see it actually in the feeds, but we did see it on the episode last night. But basically he like got very upset with Cynthia, and Lamar kind of like stirred the pot a little bit and called him like a punk or whatever for not getting over the fact that Cynthia voted for him. And he was like, yeah, she tried to he was like definitely stirring the pot on both sides. So she came out and she's like, if you want to hold that against me, then like you can't eat my food anymore and you won't be able to have my brisket and whatever. I'm not going to eat your ribs. And it like, she came out like 50 Cent came out a little bit and she left and she then she came out back again and started saying something to him. And then Todd Bridges like really got up in her face and got angry. So that was like the drama with Cynthia. And then Mike Hill, her husband, tweeted like, this man done lost his damn mind or something like that. And with like a bunch of exclamation points. Cause it was like drama. It got picked up on like some of the blogs. It got picked up on the Shade Room. I think it was on Instagram. So it made some headlines that these two got into it, but they're fine now.
Oh, okay.
But that's like the tea with Cynthia. And then Carson won HOH last night. So Cynthia's sitting pretty. So we're happy to see that. Yeah. There was a flip of power in the house.
Does she ever stand a chance of winning an HOH?
Yeah, she could. I think it would depend on maybe like a quiz. She's not like, she's playing, but she's not great at it, but she's having a good time, and she's strategizing, and she's giving us stuff, and she really is like anti the other side of the house. At least that's what I thought. I think I'm seeing some things on Twitter that they're talking a little bit she's talking a little bit to Todrick and Misha today. So we'll see how that ends up. But yeah, I think she could. It really depends on what the competition is. But anything physical, I would say no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're up against like a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
That could be difficult. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm still rooting for Cynthia from afar.
Me too.
And that really wraps up our universe this week. So we aren't getting Salt Lake City this week, correct? So we would just have OC and New Jersey, it looks like.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then next week we will be talking about those. And in the meantime, Katie, where can the people find you on the internet, and what are you doing these days?
You can find me at RealSlimKatie on Twitter. I haven't really been tweeting too much, but that's okay. Or you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore at the end. I've been there a little more frequently than I'm on Twitter, and I'm just like playing games, chatting, hanging out, talking, vibing. So feel free, throw a follow. Follow is free. Come on over. We'll chat Big Brother. We'll chat Housewives. We'll chat Survivor. We'll chat whatever you want.
My chat right now is, I'm going to need you to win tonight. Thanks in advance for your cooperation.
Oh, okay. I will do my best
this evening in a heroes versus villains type of game, but
we'll try. Well, I'm hoping for my villain era.
Yeah, you and Bobkin are my two ponies in this race.
Okay, good to know.
And there's someone that I desperately need to lose. So,
okay,
I won't say their name right now, but it rhymes with mine. So, if you want to figure that puzzle out,
I got it.
If you let him do anything positive in this game, Katie,
I got you.
We're gonna have some words.
Okay. Good to know.
Anyway,
I have played with him before.
Me too.
And I've outlasted.
Yeah, patronizing and rude to me. That I haven't got my vengeance yet, but I'll live through you. I will live through you, Katie. I need you on this one. So.
Okay. I'll avenge you.
I almost tweeted like, there's a 10% chance I'm ecstatic about who wins, but there's a 95% chance I'm ecstatic about who doesn't win. And then I decided that I didn't have time for this drama today because it was like right before we were going to podcast.
Okay. I gotcha.
I couldn't be replying during this, but maybe I will closer to game time. Who knows? Let's see if I'm feeling a little.
Are you going to be in your villain era tonight?
I don't know if I've ever left my villain era, to be honest. I think it started around 33 years ago, and it's just been going. Well, I also haven't been tweeting much, but you can follow me and catch whatever I am tweeting about. It's usually just anger at things, but I love when people feed into my anger, and that's really what it comes down to.
That's what Twitter is best used for.
Yeah, I don't even remember like any of the last stuff I tweeted. I do remember. It's mostly about Chicago public schools. So, but yeah, follow so we can talk. I actually just saw that I have 2 follow requests, so I am popular. Thank you for making me feel good about myself. I didn't look to see who it was, but yeah, catch me there or on Instagram. Same username. You can see my dog, who you regularly hear barking in the background. And there's background music now? Wow, it says new next to it too. So I'm gonna have to try that out sometime. But before then, I should have turned my banner off. Hold on. Boop. Get to hear my noise effects for what I'm doing. There we go. So Silent Podcast is dropping a whole bunch of new shit right now. You've got like Saturday morning cartoons. I just saw the tweet for it. We're going to be covering Top Chef soon. We are going to be covering, hold on. We just tweeted it. Give me 14 seconds to find it. Come on.
I saw some Survivor Australia coverage.
Oh, yes, thank you. Survivor Australia. Project Runway. We've got The Amazing Race. You've got Us, obviously. Yeah, we're just covering a whole bunch of shows that are coming out either now or in the near future. So definitely follow along, and you can do that on Twitch, which is Silent Podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, also Silent Podcast, and we are on Twitter, silent_podcast. But yeah, definitely reach out, comment. I know Isaiah's got this like link to his account, and he will definitely respond to you, our podfather.
Yes, we stand our podfather.
Definitely do. But until we get to talk to you next, we hope you have a great week. We are hoping for a Katie win tonight in EQ.
Thank you.
Definitely will be rooting for it. You or Bobkin. If one of you wins, I'm happy. So
thank you.
I'll be watching. And if you need to see where to watch, I don't know, look up Equilibrium or however it's spelled. But definitely go and see how that's going.
I'm going to try and host it on my Twitch as well. I know there's like multiple rooms, but I'm going to try and figure out a way to kind of just like host it. So if you come to my Twitch and you're interested in what we're talking about, then you can check it out.
It's definitely, so to be fair, there's people from like Real Survivor playing, like you have Wentworth playing. Is it Santoni was from, I think, South Africa?
Yes, South Africa.
There's some dude, I don't remember.
Simon?
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know what time, maybe Australia.
Or he just has a cast photo that looks like
I think he is from Survivor, but I don't know. I'm sorry, Simon, if you happen to be listening to this for some reason. I am apologizing for not knowing who you are, but I do know that you played Survivor.
And I have the cast photo up right now. Santoni, Wentworth, Simon. That might be it. And if there's someone else I'm missing, sorry.
Harry
played. Okay, cool. So yeah, you have people from like the show too. So having played and watched is one of the better ones to spectate. So I definitely say join in the spectating and root for Katie.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. If
anybody in the chat who says otherwise.
If you like watching people vote each other out in dramatic fashion, round by round, with some twists involved, then maybe you like it.
Yeah, for sure. So watch that, and then watch us next week when we're back talking about OC and New Jersey. So until then, we are here for Silent Podcast, where we're anything but silent, and enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, have a great rest of your weekend, and enjoy the Super Bowl if you partake.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's go Bengals.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, bye.